Aaron's watching comments. There we go. Now we're going. All right, so we're getting a late start. What? It's too loud? Oh, okay. All right, we're live. It's just me today. Aaron's over here. Mike's working. Josh is working. So we figured we'd do something different today. Might hear me in an echo. We got the audio on in the background. I'll do some, no headphones, so yeah, if you have any problem with the audio, just tell Aaron and he'll verbally, or send a message.
If it's too loud, let me know.
Yeah, okay, you should be able to hear both of us okay. Got question and answer, got some stuff to show you today, explain a few things. I'll bowl, set up a few splits. And I guess we'll start. If you got any requests or anything, let me know. And sorry we weren't on last week. Kind of the same thing. There's just a lot of things going on between everybody right now. So it's kind of gotten in the way of our regular schedule. We're doing a bunch of live stuff on Wednesday probably. Mike, Josh, and I are driving up near Amarillo, so we may do some live stuff on the way. And we're going to an old AMF house up in Hereford, Texas. It's got 8230s and Magic Score. So we're going to go visit them on Wednesday and do some videos up there and see what happens. Oof. I have not bowled all week. I guess I'll let the screwdriver up there. And a screwdriver and a 7/16 ratchet. Still playing with the gearbox time delay on the 4-to-1. We have the Glow Cubic AM flights in today. Charlie's request. Charlie, if you're watching. Oh yeah. Fairlight, hand dryers. Ah, come on. Check in, tell us where you're from, who's out there, who's the furthest away today. No deadwood. If you notice the giant Liberty Head coin just to the right of the masking unit, that is a strike indicator that came from East Ridge Lanes in Amarillo. Evidently they used to use them. I'll show you the box. I showed it in another video the other day, but evidently it's got a row of lights around it, and when you strike, it has spinning lights that come on while I guess the strike indicator's lit up. What's that? Oh, forgot the triangle. Whoops. Open the masking. All right, we'll do a few frames with the masking unit up by request. There we go. Yeah, Rod J and I have been working on trying to figure out the solution for the time delay on the clutch for an impending project. Oh, come on! I wanted a split. you got any questions, ask Aaron. We got a list of questions we're going to go over too that we've been getting from comments during the week. So if you send a comment and I hadn't responded, we'll try to do that today. It's alive. Deadwood, Lane 9. Singapore? Wow. So we have somebody watching from Singapore and London, live right now watching. Appreciate y'all checking out. Oh. Almost. Singapore and London. That's cool. Thanks for checking us out. Oops. The screw is sticking up quite a bit. All right, one more shot and then I'll start a game up. No carry. We get it set up here. What's that? Full screen, gotcha. Go ahead and cycle that. All right. New game, normal. Rub. And maximum score start.
We saw you, Amflight.
Menu, settings. Full screen mode. Oops. All right. What'd you say? Okay. Does the audio sound good to you? All right, first frame. That's the way to start a game. I know what's in the way. The stick. Use that for the attic to open the stairs to get up in the attic, so. Oops. Foul.
Foul.
Oh yeah. 2. Make that a double. And we got the gold twister pin on the shelf here. Got that out of the UK. Well, came to an end. Spare. Give me about 10 seconds. I gotta wrap my thumb real quick. Be right back.
We only have 2 microphones on, so I don't know what would be loud. I won't use the sound effects because I don't have any way to change that volume.
Did I say 10? I meant 20. Sorry about that. Got any questions or comments from anybody? All right. I don't want to tear my thumb up for bowling tomorrow night.
Yeah, the pin setter is a loud machine.
If I only had one of the old clangy pinwheels, it would be even louder. I think you'd probably object to that one. Stand up, come on. Normally you would want pins to fall, but I'm trying to get some splits. Splat. Also have a new twister pin with that logo on the back instead. I got 7 of them in the mail, and that one didn't match the rest of them. So that one's kind of a unique one. That's not gonna fall for me today. Smack it and bring it out. It's dead wood, maybe. Not direct enough. Check my phone. We have comments from the world. Who's got what? When will the 4-1 come from Cleveland? We're waiting on the entire gearbox, which hasn't been picked up yet, so probably gonna have to get an entire gearbox from him. He's supposed to be picking it up within the week because the 17th is the last day. Unless I can find one in Tulia on Wednesday, then I won't need it. Better fall. Let's see. Yeah, the Dr. Pepper machine is running right next to everything here, and I think maybe the compressor is making a noise. Aaron's going to turn it off. Maybe that'll take care of the background noise you're hearing. Send me a private message if you got anything. Send Aaron a message on the group page. He's watching. Finally, we got a split. Go the normal way or the hard way? I think I'm going to try just to slide them. Or that. These AMFs are kind of bouncy. It's the second deadwood already. Yes.
We'll do the Q&A in a bit.
Did it again. No deadwood. Also, Mike brought this over last week. The Golden Eagle pen. He got a better one. This one's got the crack around the belly, but it's kind of, I didn't have one, but I do now. I just got to find a spot on the shelf for it.
We try. Is it Okapi? Am I saying that right?
test. Anything you want me to do while we're bowling today, let me know. Schmack. All right, here comes the big 10th frame second ball solenoid trick. There it goes. Still working. Dang. 187. Not the greatest, not the best. All right. Want to go over some of the questions? All right. Had several comments on the YouTube page this week. Thought we'd go over a few. Game show host, I think, sent several. And Aaron's got a list of them, I think. He's breaking out the list. Stored in a mayonnaise jar on the back porch of the garage. Hidden away from public view.
Sure. We'll go with that.
Yeah. It's a Carson thing.
Pyri asked, I have 2 questions you might be able to tell the answer to.
Okay.
How do you change the speed of the machines?
Changing the speed of the machine, and that's actually a good question because...
Is there a way we can bring this camera down where it can see you better?
Yeah, I can hold it.
That would work too.
All right, let's go with that. Let me move the camera here. How about I grab a chair and sit down here for a minute? All right, how's this on the camera angle? How are we now? Still? Want it a little higher? What if I set it up here and clip it on and...
Works for me.
All right. Okay, changing the speed of the machine. Because there is several different various speeds. If you ever have seen the Brunswick pin setter in different places, you might notice they run faster in some than others. It's all based on the pulley that they put on the actual drive motor. There's a speed, jetback speed, A2 speed, pretty much about any speed you want, but the typical ones are A, jetback, and A2. And it's the size of the pulley you put on the motor. The A2 pulley is about, it's pretty good size, about a little bigger than like a 45 record. I know that probably doesn't mean anything to some of the younger people watching, but 10 inches maybe or so is like an A2, and you put that on there, and I actually have one coming that we're going to try one day on the machine. I'm going to swap out the A-speed pulley that I've got on there now for the A2, and the machine's going to run really fast. A lot of places run it that way all the time. I just think it's unnecessary, putting unnecessary strain on the gearbox and components, making things run fast and break sooner. So I'd rather run a smaller pulley, have the machine run slower. Your pins are going to set a little neater, first ball and second ball, and you know you're never going to get to the point where the ball's going to be back, the bowler's going to be standing there waiting to bowl while the machine's still cycling in A speed. It's just, I don't know. Back in the day, I think it had a point and a purpose, but not anymore, really.
And Pyri's second question, how do you stop the sweep from hitting the curtain at 180?
Well, I did a video on adjusting the rake arm, or the rake crank rod here a couple of weeks ago, if you want to watch that. Basically, it's the length of the rake crank rod, the one that we bent live one Sunday about 2 months ago.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. If you're not familiar, Mike has the ability to be involved with breaking the pin setter from time to time and messing things up, but it's all in fun. We're not blaming him, even though he really did do it. But he set a case of pins on the lane. The rake came down, caught the case. The rake got caught behind the pin deck. The thing bent. And if you watch the video, you can actually watch it bend the rake crank rod. I ended up taking it off while we were doing our live thing, put it in the driveway, and drove over with my truck trying to flatten it back out again so we could get it straight enough to finish. And it worked.
I think he answered everything but the question.
But to answer the question, yeah, the circumference of the 4-to-1 if you watch the video or you ever watch the gearbox on the right side, you'll see the 4-to-1 has got an arm that goes around 4 times, and there's a rod, and it goes forward at its most forward point. It just barely catches a hook, and then as it cranks backwards, it hits the back of the circumference, and the rake is right at the back of the lane. So the rake can't go any further than the 4-to-1 is adjusted with the rake crank rod on there. So basically adjust the length of the rod that stops the rake about at the rear of the pin deck. Because if you have it too long, it won't come back far enough, and you won't actually clear, maybe the back row of pins off. So you got to have it set at about the right length to have a proper throw for the rake. But yeah, the rake, because it's got a big spring, it's called a bazooka, that could literally kill you if it ever broke free. But it's a giant spring and a spring tube, and the rake arm is attached to it. Whenever it sweeps back, it's compressed that spring to the bazooka, and that's what brings the rake arm back forward, is that. And it also helps when the deck goes down to set at 270, it's compressing that spring tube again, and that helps, the spring kind of helps lift takes a little weight off the gearbox when it picks the deck back up, because that deck is quite heavy, very heavy. So
Game show host Jake had a few questions that he sent in, so I'll kind of mix his in with the other ones that have been asked the last week or so.
I think game show host just passed his 14th live.
Yeah, today
viewing.
is 15.
Is he watching today?
He is.
Awesome. Good to have you back. I've
What?
got your list of questions.
What are the A2 pin setters? I think
A2
it's like an origin question.
And what?
I'm guessing it's like an origin question.
Okay. What is the A2 pin setter? If you ever have noticed at a bowling alley, it has a sticker on some of them that says A2. What is an A2? The original Brunswick pin setter was the A that came out in, I guess, 55 or 56 that they developed. This was one of the first ones developed. It was originally a Model A, but it was converted to A2. Basically, the Model A, it has a mechanical cushion. When you hit the cushion, it has a mechanical release that releases the clutch. And it works pretty good, but if you got kids bowling, it doesn't work very well. Somebody came along and said, I can redevelop the cushion to work a little better. Actually, I got a couple of props for that. The original rake on the A is controlled by this bar. Can you see the whole bar in there? That controls the height of the rake while it's sweeping. There's a arm on a cam on this end. As it follows the cam, this end pushes and raises and lowers the rake as the cam goes. That was on the Model A. When they came out the A2, they wanted a way to make the rake drop immediately so you wouldn't have deadwood come out. So as soon as the ball hits the cushion, it drops. The only way to do that is they did a shotgun. Notice they're the same length from bushing to bushing, but this is the shotgun. There's a little lever right here, and whenever you hit the cushion, I hope I'm not getting myself dirty, but it hits this and releases. This will actually collapse. It's kind of hard for me to do it all at the same time here. But the rake will collapse. I can't do it, but it'll collapse, and then this thing is, then once this end follows the cam, this stretches back out, locks back into place again, being the same length of the bar. But with this on there, you can make the rake drop as soon as the ball hits the cushion. It hits this up, this whole thing collapses from the weight, and your rake drops immediately. Once the cycle starts, it catches, locks back in place. So that's kind of the difference between the A and the A2. The A is mechanically triggered. The A2, when the rake drops, there's about a 3-second delay, and then it basically hits the reset button and electrically cycles the pin setter. So the mechanical part is taken out of it. So the A2 kind of went from, a slow rake drop to a quicker rake drop, and it triggers a lot easier than it does on the A. Because the A had a problem, you throw a light ball, you're hitting the reset button every time you bowl pretty much.
Hey Charles, I just saw your comment from earlier. I'm sorry. Definitely send our condolences. Another one from Game Show Host. How many 710 spares do you do during the spare requests?
Oh gosh, I think we do probably about 20.
50?
I guess it's one of the more popular ones and the more fun one to shoot, the 710. It seems like the back row kicks out better than the second to back row or third to back row. So we usually have more deadwood and more fun when we put up the back row. So this, the big 4 is another good one, but the 710 is pretty easy. We do it probably about 20 times or so. We try to at least pick it up once per show, but it's still hard.
From the production standpoint, they do it too often. I frequently have a long list of requests from all of y'all, and they're setting up 710s, and I'm like, no one requested that.
Well, sometimes we get what we want, but I know. We try to stick to the list.
We're here, Charles, if you need anything. Another one from Game Show Host. Will you do a slideshow on where Mr. Bill has popped up in the garage at the end of the year?
I will do that. I can, I don't know if anybody's been paying attention or watching for a while now, and if anybody knows who Mr. Bill is,
I don't.
He's hanging up down there over the masking unit on the Bel Air sign today.
Let me see if you can actually see him from this camera. Can't see him from that
Probably not, the lower one. I can go get Mr. Bill if you want to see Mr. Bill, but it's the Saturday Night Live skit from back in the mid-'70s about Mr. Bill. He's a clay character with his dog.
Yeah, we can't see him on any camera.
I forgot the dog's name. Anyways, but Sluggo was the other one that was always his mortal enemy that always would crush him, kill him.
Oh, no!
Exactly, and Mr. Bill would always get killed in every episode. But so we got Mr. Bill he showed up on the rake one day. I think I've had him hanging on the deck before. It's just kind of fun to have him kind of making the rounds. So, but I'll definitely go through and see if I can't do a slideshow of all the places. It was funny the day that I put him on the rake. Mike had no idea. He bowled and the rake came down and Mr. Bill's hanging onto the rake. It's kind of funny.
Pinoy Bowler asked, I saw a crack on your 6-pin deck chute.
Yeah, that's true. I do have several cracked deck chutes. They haven't become a problem yet, but I do need to probably do some kind of a repair on them or replace them. I've got a spare moving deck assembly that I need to go take some parts off of for this one. Some spotting fingers, and there's a little wire track that the scissors actually ride on that a lot of these are broken on. I need to go see if I've got some on the other moving decks, put them on there. And some deck chutes also. I've got one, if you notice, the 7-pin, I believe, actually has like a metal, I don't know if they sold it that way or somebody just got creative, but they made like a boot for it, a metal boot that bolts on one side and kind of holds the deck chute together. So it keeps them from cracking and breaking. It's pretty smart.
Cappy asked earlier, what oil pattern are you playing?
Today we're playing the honey badger pattern, because he don't give a shit.
I don't think there's any down there.
No, I did.
Oh, you did?
I sprayed a little bit on there earlier over on the right side just for me. I knew Josh wasn't here, so I didn't do the left side. But I did spritz a little bit of oil on the lane. It's about a 6-foot pattern. Starts about board 5, goes out about 15, about 6 feet down there. Just enough to protect the heads and keep the black skid marks on the lane, because those rubber balls will leave skid marks all over the lane.
So, BM Hedgehog asked earlier, while watching the rake adjustment video, I noticed the picture of Monty Hall. Could you please talk about that photo?
Let me go get that and show you what it really is. It's something I got several years back. Sorry, Beth.
Bring Mr. Bill, too.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin, if you look at the top of this camera shot directly behind the ceiling fan, or the Brunswick automatic,
Hall, I have Bob Barker,
hanging from the ceiling,
Bob Newhart, Bill Bixby. I've got Smokey Robinson somewhere, I believe. Oh,
wow.
But here's Mr. Bill. Oh, he just lost his little hook. But whenever you squeeze Mr. Bill, you get...
You might have to...
let me put it by the mic here. Ready? Every episode, Mr. Bill dies. It's kind of like on South Park, Kenny. He's like the pre-Kenny. Always got killed, but he showed up in the next episode. But here is Monty Hall. If you notice, I have Monty Hall's autograph on the bottom of this. Looks like somebody took the picture, cut out the bottom, and I guess a signed piece of paper and taped it on the back there, but it is an autographed picture of Monty Hall. I even have canceled checks from, say, Bob Newhart, Smokey Robinson, Bob Barker, Bill Bixby, the Incredible Hulk. Got several other ones. Just something I went on and found the canceled checks and bought them, and it's kind of a novelty thing to have. But I do have Monty Hall.
How often do you guys do a raffle drawing when you go bowling? So at league.
On my Monday Night Bowling League. Yeah, I do 5 games a night. I actually have something new this week. Let me go grab it. Give me about 10 seconds, probably 20.
I think I told him no less than 5 times to bring this out here so it would be ready.
I'm getting high tech here on Monday nights. As what I do is, they got the intercom system in the bowling alley. You can probably hear me when I'm calling out numbers over the microphone, but a lot of bowlers say they can't understand me, or they're dead zones, or they just can't hear anything, which kind of...
They have a number of speakers that do not work.
Yeah, there's something like down around 7 and 8, they say you can't hear anything. So what I did, somebody suggested last week, and I made it, was a whiteboard, dry erase board. So I have my strike pot for game 1. WTP is win the pot. Basically, you put in $1, I draw a ticket. Whoever's ticket I draw, they win that money. So it's usually about $20 a week. Mystery score game 1, strike pot game 2, mystery score 2. So I do 5 games a night during league, and I'm going to be trying this out tomorrow night. So that way I can write down the numbers that I call, the pot, who won it, so people can be informed instead of coming up to me all night with a handful of tickets asking me, and then I have to break the bad news to them. I already called it out. You didn't get it, and somebody else did. Lately, Derek Hampton's been cleaning me out, so not a whole lot of rollover stuff because he keeps winning.
Most welcome, good. Hedgehog.
But that's fine. We like winning.
Lucius asks, why do some lanes have one ball stuck, then the second ball comes, then the first ball will return?
Usually they have a spinning ball eliminator, something they came out with after the original design of the pin setter. The balls get right where it needs to go in, and there's a set of lift rods, like 2 bars about 10 inches apart or so, that's got like a rubber coating on them. And then the ball wheel's going around and around. The ball falls in there, and it kind of forces them in there. And with that spinning around, the ball rolls up the lift rods and comes back. Sometimes you get a spinning ball at the bottom where it just doesn't get that little push to get in there. And somebody came up with a spinning ball eliminator. It's a little bar about this long that hangs down. So it sits right where that ball would be spinning to kind of contact the ball and kind of make it, kind of gives a little bit of a kick. And that kicks it into the lift rods. But every once in a while, you get a ball that just doesn't want to go, or you get one that gets halfway up the lift rods and it just doesn't have enough friction to get up, and then the next ball gets in there and kind of helps push it up and get it out of the way. So usually one ball kind of gives the other one a nudge.
Hi, FNAF. Next question. We'll go back to some from Game Show Host. Will you show us pictures or a slideshow on how you got the vintage Dr. Pepper machine?
Oh, I'm going to have to dig out the file on that one. Let me show you the Dr. Pepper machine he talks about. We just turned it off because it's making noise that interferes on the audio. But this is a 1960s Dr. Pepper. Oh, there's Aaron. Yeah, we told her we'd get him on camera today. It's a 1960s Dr. Pepper machine that I found in a flea market back in the early 90s. I think I paid $150 for it. It did not work, but it was in pretty good shape. And a friend and I, James, who's been in the garage here too, we went out to a flea market in West Fort Worth that they do every year, and they had a bunch of Coke machines that looked like they came out of a riverbed. They were just completely rusted out, and they wanted like $5 a piece for them, and I opened up one of them, and inside had the cooling unit in it, and it looked good to me, so I ended up giving the guy $5 for the machine. We threw it in the back of his truck, brought it home. I took the cooling unit out, rewired it. It's never been serviced once, so this is out of a machine that was rusted to death in 1992, so it's probably another 60s machine. Never been serviced, never been worked on, and I rewired it, and it started working, and it has worked to this day. And how many years later? It didn't run for a lot of years. I didn't use it all the time, but we've been in this garage now for 4 years.
4.5.
Pretty much the machine has been running the 4 years we've had it in here off a 60-year-old compressor that's never been serviced. It still cools, and you put the dime in, you open the door, you pull the bottle out, the little rack will allow one drink to come out, and it locks behind it. You got to put 10 cents in to get your drink. But it worked. But I did take it all apart, back to the question. About 10 years ago, I took it completely apart and repainted the inside. There's some corrosion in the floor of it. I fixed that up and then re-insulated it, put the unit back together, and I repainted the entire thing, got reproduction decals and everything, and kind of restored it. It's not going to be a high-dollar machine. You know, the 60s square tops aren't the sought-after machines, so.
But it works in here.
What's that?
It works in here.
It does. Yeah, for what it is, it's great. I love it. I don't regret redoing it, but it looks almost new and still works. So I'm going to pull out a bunch of pictures because I took a bunch of pictures as I did it about 10 years ago. So I'll find all those. I'll put a video montage together and I'll post a video on it. Thanks for asking.
Yes, Mike is working today.
Yeah, Mike is working because we're going on a drive Wednesday if everything works out, and Mike's having to work today in lieu of Wednesday. So.
Beth asked, how do you keep the bowling pins from falling off the shelf?
Good question, actually.
There's two answers to that question.
One, we don't slam the door. The other one, if you notice the pins are on the shelf, they can't fall anywhere because I have this board attached up here on top. This one actually is coming loose. I need to put some screws in it. Actually, I think it's about to fall off. I glued it. I guess the glue didn't hold, so I need to. Anyway, so basically the pins are side to side. They're holding each other up, and then you got the board in the front. Even on these up here, they can't fall forward. So pretty much they're holding each other from wobbling side to side, and they can't fall forward because of that board on the very, very top. But the ones up there, just by pure luck, until I can get a board put up there and a little bit of a shield on it to keep those from falling down. But we try not to be upset enough that we're slamming the door and making the pins wobble or anything.
I don't have who asked this question, but wondering what the small rectangular white block is that's attached with a zip tie to the bracket for the 10th frame, third ball.
Switch to the camera on the back. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but there's I think that's Carl that sent that one. There's another question from him on there that's got his name on it. But okay. There's a gray cam, white gear, and a gray piece mounted on top of the detector. And there's the wire that comes off of that. Well, the Scoremore system was catching a ton of electrical interference, and we were trying to figure out how to minimize it. Right now, the foul light itself, that's where the board is that runs the Scoremore system. We tried it further back, but the longer cable between the back and the front caused a problem. We moved it all the way up front. The longer cable from the front to the back caused the problem, so now it's in the middle, is working. We ran a ground wire to it. But basically the wire that comes off the 44-144 switch that you see on top of the detector, I was trying to keep the metal off the metal. So I put a block of wood on there and zip tied it to put like a dead contact in between there to try to minimize any electrical interference. I mean, we were trying anything and everything, trying to figure out what the problem was and how to, fix it. I noticed that when I ran the cable closer to the electrical box, the Scoremore thing went crazy and doing false scores. So it is very susceptible to electrical interference. But now everything seems to be working right. If you notice, we just did a whole game, had no problems. So I think we finally got all this stuff figured out. So the little blocks you see are just little blocks of wood to keep the wires from the switch away from the metal frame to minimize electrical interference.
Did you get the number 2 button fixed? Well, I have it on and I have it pushed right now.
You can actually see it if you look on the camera on the back.
You can see I just lit up the back row, the second row.
Yeah, I'm watching it.
There's
here.
Number 1. There's number 3. I still don't have number 2.
Doesn't have number 2 yet. So I'm going to work on that this week. There's been a lot of stuff going on. We won't talk about everything, but there's just been a lot of things going on around here. So
It's been busy.
yeah, we've just been kind of getting off schedule, and like I say, we're gonna be doing this trip on Wednesday, so that's what's got Mike gone. Last weekend, I can't remember what was going on last weekend, but anyways, I haven't fixed the number 2, but I promise by next week when we go back live again, I will have the number 2 button working. If you haven't seen it before, let me show you up front here. This is what, when you ask for spare request, this is a keyboard that I made, and Aaron can punch in 2 different sets, and it displays on the back onto one of these, not this actual one, but there's 2 sets on there. If you watch, he sets it on the back camera, you can see it on the wall. But that way we can communicate what split shots people want to see. He types it in up here, they light up back there. It's something I just completely made up randomly, so.
Well, now the number 3 button is stuck. There we go.
Mike, can't blame that one on Mike, I guess, this week. So.
I kind of like this one. Have you been to a farm or a barn?
Have I been to a farm or a barn?
That was game show host.
I have not been to a farm or a barn. I don't like green eggs and ham.
I went to a farm as a kid, but I haven't in my adult life.
Yeah, we had relatives with a farm up between Gainesville and Sherman that I remember going up to as a kid, but they've passed on, and I'm not sure what happened to it after that. But unless you want to call Harold's farm behind his house.
No, my grandfather does not have a farm.
It's a mini farm. He has actually it's quite a backyard. It's probably
I think 2.5 acres.
Yeah, it's like 300 feet deep, and he actually tilled it. He's in his 90s now, so he's not able to do it like he used to, but.
And blind.
Yeah.
He's out there tilling blind.
Good for Harold, though. Still going, getting on the riding lawnmower at 95 years old. But he used to have a whole little crop of everything he grew out back. It was pretty neat.
And Kevin asked about the Brunswick automatic deck shield. I showed him where it was on the screen, but I wanted to touch back on it because I've been asking Robert to put that on the machine for about 6 weeks now.
So I've got the A2 deck cover, another Brunswick automatic, and then this one I found that's the original. That was what was on this machine when it first came out. It just says Brunswick across the front. That was actually, somebody put the gold B on the front of it because you can see the remnants of the gold B, and the paint deteriorated enough to where the old Brunswick logo is visible again. But there's the Brunswick automatic that's more well known, and then the gold B like we have on there now. But I'm going to swap out and put the Brunswick automatic back on there.
Another one from Game Show Host. Are you thinking about getting a new bowling lane or an update on your bowling lane?
Haven't decided about anything updating on the bowling lane. We're at where we're at on the lane. The pin setter, though, I've got a little project coming up that a lot of people know about, some don't know about. But I'm going to convert this A2 back to a Model A pin setter, just to be the first person in the world to ever unconvert a pin setter. I'm going to put the original A cushion back on, the hockey sticks, the mechanical release, the old reset button. There's a number of things that have to go on there to convert it back, but I kind of like the old original A aspect of the pin setter, so I'm going to convert it back and shock the world.
Do you ever get thirsty while you're bowling?
Yes.
I assume in here and probably at league too.
Oh yeah, and usually at league I don't bother getting anything because now we're on the other end of the house, 40 lanes away from the snack bar, so walking down there, I'd be ready to bowl by the time I get down there, and they'd be having to wait for me. So I ought to just maybe start taking something in with me. Since
you might as well. They don't stop anybody.
Yeah, the vending machines aren't down there either. They used to have them. I think they're in the middle now, but still, it's not very convenient.
Which replays did you watch from League this past Monday?
Oh, we watched the whole thing. Well, we skimmed through League because I know Aaron's already watched it, but we always kind of go back through and watch it and kind of see what I should do, what I shouldn't do, and I get my critiques that
that he misses because I'm not in attendance.
I know. I wish he was there, but we have other reasons that he's not there, and he's better at home attending to things here. But Aaron used to come up there with me and keep me in line.
Have you broken the ball yet?
Have I broken the ball? Where the hell is the ball?
I think it was in that container.
No, I think it's
in there.
Is
I can
it?
see it.
No, that's not it. The ball is here somewhere, but no, I haven't finished breaking the ball yet. I tried dropping it last week a few times. That core just doesn't want to give up yet. So the ball has not broken yet. We're not bowling with it anymore because it actually took 2 chunks out of the lane finish. One of them, when I was bowling the other day, I threw it, I could tell the ball hit funny, and like the ball came back and there's a chunk of finish in between the thumb insert and the ball itself. So I was like, that's it, no more.
Hi, Gabriel.
Hey, Gabriel.
Would you like to own a farm?
Own a barn?
A farm.
A farm. That would be kind of fun to have a farm. I don't know what I'd do with the farm other than put a big building on it and put a 4 or 8 lane bowling alley in it.
As long as Robert did all the work, I'm fine living on a farm.
But you wouldn't get out there in your tractor and plow the field?
No.
Green Acres. You'd be Ava Gabor.
Do you have any extra crowns laying around for the single lane masking unit? I have a masking unit hanging in my basement, but the crown is cracked and has a hole in it. That's from Bo Impala.
Well, you know what? You're in luck. I actually have spare crowns. If you need one, get in touch with us, and I will be glad to send you one for your masking unit.
You can send us a message on Facebook.
Yeah.
Same name, just look for the page or join the group, and then we can chat from there.
Yes, I've actually got some spare gold crown parts, and one of them is some extra crowns, so you're in luck.
Why do you like to go last when it comes to bowling on league?
I always just like being in the anchor position. I kind of like it 10th frame when it comes down to, if we need something, I like to be able to hopefully, if we need 28 pins, I like the little bit of pressure to get up there, and, kind of gives me a little satisfaction if I can get up in the very end of the game and pull it out instead of somebody else bowling and, not getting it. Then I don't want them to feel bad that we lost the game because of them.
Bye, Kevin.
It's not because of them anyways, but just I kind of like the weight being put on me. If we lose and I screw up, I take the blame. If we win and I tripled, I did that. So I always just like bowling last.
And Bo Impala also said, you would be the first I've ever heard of going in reverse from
Yes,
A2
I
to
am.
A.
I will gladly say that I
And
will probably, and I know a lot of people don't understand why, but I just like the A aspect of the pin setter.
BM Hedgehog said there's nothing like going OG. How long did it take to assemble the pin setter?
Oh gosh. It took a while to get the kickbacks put upright because that was the hard part. I had to drill 4 holes in the slab and attach 2 crossboards. Then it was getting the kickbacks upright, but they leaned forward. So I had to put a board together on both of them. And that took a couple of days then to get them upright and stack some wood under the front of the kickbacks. And then once the kickbacks were stabilized and I had the boards running across them, then I had to get some guys to come over and help me bring the pin setter over, which was I think in about 3 or 4 main pieces. The elevator, we brought that over and stuck that in place, and that was kind of the first piece of the puzzle. Then we got the frame, put the frame on, and I think it took about a day or so to get the main pieces together. And then, because I've never put a pin setter in before, so I was kind of going off old measurements and everything, but from the time we actually put it in to where I turned it on the first time, probably took me about 4 to 6 weeks maybe. And if you look on my list of videos and go way down to the bottom, I do have a video of me sitting on the pin setter aimed at it, and it was literally when I turned the pin setter on for the very first time and cycled it. It's kind of neat. It had been sitting in that church for almost 40 years, probably hadn't been cycled much at all because they just, if you don't have somebody there to maintain them and keep them up, they're not going to use them. So it's kind of neat seeing the rebirth of a fascinating machine like that after 40 years.
FNAF Mangle Fox asked, Can you all sign a pen and send it to me?
Sure. I can get everybody to autograph a pen for you.
Do you want Hayden's signature too?
Hey, we gotta have Hayden's signature on there too. Wasn't that the same person asking about the bowling pin that was cut?
Yes. Yes, on Facebook.
Yeah, I had a question.
Definitely join us in the Facebook group.
Yeah, look on the Facebook group. But I did this to a bowling pin.
So he could attach his cell phone to it.
I did. It was my old cell phone that I didn't care about anymore. I actually had little L bracket hooks that you twist in. I put the phone on there. I actually have video, a couple of videos I think it actually made it on there. But I had that. You lock the phone in place. But the machine just does not like to set the pin down very well with without a complete pin. It doesn't work. The deck roller needs to be here, the spotting fingers. But we've had a few videos where actually we bowled on it with the hunk missing out of it. It's kind of funny. But haven't done that lately. It didn't work as well as I thought. I thought it'd be neat having it like fall over, lay in the pit, go in the pinwheel, ride the pinwheel up, hit the turn pan and come up. But it caused turn pan jams and congestion and other things that I didn't foresee happening.
Papa Jacob asked, don't you have a blue masking unit too with the gold crown?
I do have another blue gold crown masking unit because this one was blue when I got it, and I wanted it to go back to the original Brunswick orange. If you notice the ball return over here that I'm sitting in the way of, it was painted blue when I got it, and I haven't taken all the blue paint off of it yet, but underneath the blue paint was the original Brunswick orange. So I went to English Color, which is a paint store here, and they made up a match to the orange on the ball track, which is what I painted the ears on there because those were blue also. I sanded it, made it back to the original orange, and then I painted the masking unit to match the orange here. So I just kind of like the old Brunswick tangerine orange. But yeah, I do have another one that's blue. That's probably got 8 coats of paint on it, but it is, I think, purple at one time, blue. It's been various colors.
That's funny, Hedgehog. I don't think he'll send you one of those, though.
What?
He asked if you'd autograph a twister. I don't think we have any extras that we could do so.
Right I've got a couple of brand new ones for trading purposes. But yeah, there's some pins I have like Score King 50s and stuff that I have, 30 or 35 of. I've got plenty of extras. But the twisters, I've got the bare minimum 21 in the machine right now.
Game show host, he cut the side off of it and attached his cell phone to it and sent it through the machine.
I did. I thought it would be better video, but it was still fun.
Bo and Paula asked, did the church convert it to A2?
No, I believe that they got it because they got the machines, I heard, in about 1980 is what the maintenance guys said when they put them in. So they were converted prior to that. I was told that they came out of New York, but I'm not sure. Is out of Roselle Lanes is what I was told. But yeah, the machine was built in 1956. It was converted probably back in the 60s, probably when everybody started converting them over. So the church probably just got them. They got actually the machines probably from Dan Tucker up in Tulia because he dealt in a lot of resale stuff on bowling equipment and stuff.
Papa Jacob says he would like a signed pin too, but he wants it on the Brunswick glow pins.
Brunswick glow pin? I think I can do that. I think I've got an extra. I think I've got an extra glow pin back there. There's some of the glows Mike said were made. I guess some of them were better than others, and a couple of them are the cheaper versions. So he's pulled a few of them out. So
we'll keep an eye out for you, Hedgehog.
Yeah. We can do that though.
Game Show asked, if you were to own a luxury car in the modern day, anything after 2015, and valued at least $70,000, what car would you want?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. Probably for practicality, similar to what I have, but a GMC makes a very nice Denali vehicle that is spacious inside, has the bird's eye camera, has all the bells and whistles.
I was going to say, it's probably the vehicle that's sitting in our driveway.
Yes.
Which is exactly what Rob was describing.
But I got a hell of a deal on it. It was a year-end sale last year.
And it was right before the chip shortage.
Yeah, right before the chip shortage. If I had known then, I would have bought 10 of them and then sold them back to them and made a profit on them.
Yeah, it's worth more now with 15,000 miles on it than it was the day we bought it.
Yeah, but it was one of those, it was a deal, end of the year deal. They threw a number at us, and it was weighing the option of continuing the lease on my Toyota or doing that one. So we made the switch. It's been nice. I don't even look back anymore. I just have a camera. It's a bird's eye camera. It's kind of nice. Spoils you.
Bo and Paula, maybe you'll understand what this means. My 32 pin setter were converted in 62. Maybe it's 32 pin setters.
Okay.
So that's a good year.
They're converting 62?
Yeah.
What serial number are they? I'm always fascinated by serial numbers of pin setters.
Do you know that, Bo and Paula?
If you don't, look it up. I'm just curious.
Parker asked if you know when yours was converted to A2.
I don't. I'm just guessing back in the 60s. I mean, it depends what house it was in, and if they had the money to drop on it, it may have been an early conversion. But as far as I know, it was pulled out, or wherever it was before 1980, and then ended up at the church in 1980. And then after that, it wasn't converted, so it had to have been 60s or 70s when they did the conversion.
How does it feel bowling by yourself?
It's kind of weird, kind of different, but yeah, it was a little faster pace. I noticed I started bowling, and all of a sudden I finished the whole game out. Normally there's the interaction between the 2 or 3 of us, and got time to run in between frames and check on things or whatnot. But,
Bo and Paula responded, 1 through 16 were installed in 58,
wow.
And they are 5,000 serial numbers.
5,000 serial number, that's great. Those are old.
Charles.
What did Charles?
He's going to answer you with one word. Would you ever bowl league at a house with string pin setters?
No.
I didn't think that was the answer he was going to use, but...
The only thing good for string pin setters are testing out a pair of scissors. I don't like them.
Parker clarified, when did all the machines get converted? Like all A2s? Would it have been predominantly the 60s?
I think they changed in the early 60s. They started making them A2. They quit making the A, I think, in the early 60s. They made the A for like the first 5 or 6 years, and then they quit production on the A, and I think anything after that is an A2. But then anything before that is still converted. There's still Model A pin setters around. I know Denton near us is still, they have a house that's Model A. I've never been there. But a lot of places are jetback or A2 converted. A jetback is kind of a pseudo conversion between an A and an A2. I'm still not completely sure on the differences, but a jetback is a converted A to an A2. But it's not the same as an A2, even a converted A2. There's still differences mechanically in them.
Bo and Paula also said 17 to 32 are in the 55,000s.
Wow.
They were installed in 1960, and then all 32 of the lanes were converted in 62.
Wow. Where is that? There you go.
Where is that, Bo and Paula?
And I assume you don't still have the Gold Crown masking units up or anything cool old like that. I like seeing old bowling alleys still with all the old equipment still in them. It's harder and harder to find stuff like that anymore.
FNAF Mangle Fox, if I offered you a Brunswick automatic pin setter, would you buy it? I hope you're not talking about that one on eBay out in the field.
$3,000 for a pin setter sitting out in somebody's backyard with a tarp on it. I can go to Dan Tucker's, or not Dan Tucker's, but Tucker's up in Tulia, and they've got 60 or 70 pin setters. They got some that are wrapped up, kind of cocoon, but they got pin setters in all different states, AMF and Brunswick. But yeah, you can go get, I think down in Louisiana, there's that one bowling alley. I'm drawing a blank on the name of it. The one that just got hit by the hurricane that had the star shields in it. They've got,
down in Huma.
24 lanes, but some are Japanese A2 and some are American A2. They got the star shields, the lanes. You can buy everything, all contents. I think they're looking for $60,000 right now, and you can have the lanes, pin setters, star shields, ball returns. Basically, take everything out of there for $60,000.
Where is that at, Dingus? Hedgehog said, he loves the fact that the first 2,500 A's were the Otis A's. But you're in the 3000s,
Yeah,
isn't yours an
it was
Otis?
later than that, because I believe this is an Otis A, and it's because it's the green machine, and this is a 3690. I'm not sure what the number was when they cut off from the Otis elevator to when Brunswick had it, but I know this one's got the older pinwheel too. That's not common on the pin setters out of the 60s. Bo might be able to tell you. Do you have the old clangy pinwheel that has the rubber sound deadener in the middle, or is yours just, that makes all the loud noise when the pin falls in? This one's an actually older one, a different type, and it doesn't have that loud clang to it.
Dingus RL says, my local alley has jetback converted from a straight A.
Yes. Wow, where is that?
Bo Impala, he said the Triangle Bowl is 32 lanes in Longview, Washington. The October picture on the Kevin Hong calendar is his center. Go get the calendar.
Let me go get that. The one from this year?
Actually, it may be...
Foul. Ow. What was that?
Is it on October? No, that's AMF.
I got September. Let me get the calendar. I know I got.
By the way, y'all,
if
you don't follow Kevin Hong, you really need to. He has some amazing photos of the bowling alleys.
With double gold crown masking units?
You can follow Kevin Hong, on Facebook. He's got a page, and he's in several groups as well.
Is this the one you're talking about, Bo? If y'all have never bought this, Kevin Hong does the calendars every year. Let's see, October, Longview, Washington. Sure enough.
He puts out the calendar once a year. They are always fantastic. Show him a little bit of support. Go buy a calendar.
January. I love this. The old Brunswick Gold Crown above grounds mask units like ours. That is in Buckley, Washington. Let's go to February. Oh, it's got the old ball returns like with the little hoop, I guess, to slow it down. That's in Yubu, British Columbia. I don't like the masking units as much. Very cool looking old place. Oh, I love this one here. March, with all the old bench seating. That's in Worcester, Massachusetts. Probably mispronounced that one. I'd love to have some of that old Brunswick bench seating like that. Oh, here's a good one. Mike Freeman would like this one too. It's the old Star Shields.
And Mike is currently watching.
Mike is watching. Hey, Mike. This in Bull or Buhl, Idaho. B-U-H-L, Idaho. Not sure the bowling. It doesn't have the center name on there, but it's got the above ground Brunswick with the Star Shields. They even have like the little sunset painted on there. It's pretty cool. May. Oh, wow. How about this for old AMF? Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania says under renovation. Hopefully they kept everything. But look at those old streamlined masking units. The lanes, they look in pretty rough shape, but hopefully they're able to resurface them and kept them like that. June, looks like duck pins. Mount Jackson, Virginia. Oh, here's the old masking units like when they used to have pin boys. Look at the old clock on the wall still too. That's, where are we, July? That's Milwaukee, Oregon. So I guess they still, no, that was the other ones, the duck pins on the one before that. Oh, here's probably one of my favorites. August. Walkersville, Maryland.
That's the color blue that the one in here came.
Yeah, it was a light blue like that. And then here is September from Ritzville, Washington. Which
is that one that's hanging on the wall, upper right corner.
We do. We have those same ones hanging on the wall, and there's several up at Tucker's. He's got those. And here's one that Bo was talking about, I believe, Longview, Washington. I love the double gold crown, the condition of them. No pin finders on there. They don't have the cutouts for them, but love the fact that somebody kept the old school Brunswick. Here's the same one I got on the wall here too. November from Cedro Woolley, Washington. Looks like actual wood lanes, above ground ball return still. 8270s. Oh wow, here's a 5-pin setup. Just 2 lanes from British Columbia, CAYCUSE, KCUS, British Columbia. And then on the back is Holden Village, Washington. No, front is Shenandoah, Virginia. And the back, which is just the wood lane, is Holden Village, Virginia. But Kevin Hong puts out this calendar every year. Look for it, buy it from him, support the guy. He's photographing all these cool little bowling alleys.
He has a great website too.
Yeah.
Let me see the calendar.
Here you go.
Yeah, vintagebowling.net.
I'm going to run inside real quick. Aaron can talk to you for a minute, take your comments and questions and stuff. Be right back.
Y'all are probably going to hear double audio for a second. I had to turn the...
Be right back.
Y'all are probably going to... For a second, I had to turn the... I just have to make sure his microphone is off. Let's see. What can I show you around the garage?
All right. I am back. Thank you for hanging around. Where are we at anyways? Okay.
What did you think of Archibald when they threw the pin setters in the
Oh
parking
my God.
lot?
That has to be Beth.
Yes.
Yeah, those were they were Model A's, weren't they? I was sick, and I know Beth was too, because she bowled there and worked on them when she was younger. Archbold is a bowling alley up in Ohio, and they closed, and I got this set of pins on the wall, the progression pins on the wall. I showed them last week, but evidently whoever bought them, they weren't keeping the place. Nobody was buying the machines, and they went in with the forklift one day and just started ripping the machines out and just dumped them in the parking lot, and I think a scrapper picked them up and took them away, which is just sickening that happens, something like this. It's just like a classic airliner being cut up. A pin setter like this should not just be destroyed like that. You know, they don't make them like that anymore. You know, there's newer alternatives and more technology, but they're crap, and they're just... Spend your money on the old pin setters, fix them up, and keep them running.
How can you tell which Brunswick machine is which when you're bowling?
As far as A2, A, and Jetback or whatever, is that, or like GSX, AMF 8230, 8270. It was Brunswick. An A, you can tell, like right now where I'm bowling, if you look at Monday night when I bowl, the ball hits the cushion, nothing happens, and then the rake and the deck drop down at the same exact time. That's very common of a Model A pin setter. But those aren't Model A's. It mimics an A the way the score, because they have the scoring system hooked up to trigger the pin setter. So when the ball crosses a little beam, there's about a 2-second delay, and then it hits the reset button on the machine, and everything drops at the same time. They've disconnected their rake drop mechanism, or the rake release mechanism, so that no longer functions. But that would be an A. What I bowl on Monday night looks like an A, but it isn't an A. An A2, as soon as that ball hits the cushion, rake drops. Then you have a couple of second delay, then the deck comes down, does its thing. A's are pretty rare, so pretty much everything now is going to be an A2, but there are a lot of A's still out there, and like I say, up in Denton, just about 45 minutes north of us, I need to go up there one day. It would be neat to see it. It's a Model A house still, unconverted. Actually, what is that, 300 Bowl or Bolero or whatever it is over here on Beltline that we moved to? They have a mixture. Some are A's and some are A's and some are converted.
Bo Impala said that up there, theirs are Otis and they are Army Green.
Okay, so the 5000 serial numbers are still Otis pin setters.
The green was surplus paint from the war.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that. I always knew it was just kind of an Army green, but so Otis used surplus paint.
Not?
Why not? That makes a lot of sense. So Otis green is surplus paint. And the first
U.S. Army green, I guess.
It would have been about 5,000 or 6,000, I think, that Otis made, and then I don't know if Otis quit making them or they contracted out different or what, or maybe they ran out of paint.
What would you say is the dominant pin setter model in most places now?
Ooh, that's tough. I think it's a pretty even mixture of like 8270s are really popular and very reliable. So a lot of people use 8270s. The Brunswick A2 is still very common. You know, there's still a lot of those around everywhere. Then, of course, now you have like the GSX machine that's coming out. And I think there's an 8290. I'm not real familiar with the AMF product, but it is very similar to an 8270. But the GSX is the newer version of Brunswick, the newer style pin setter but I think it's pretty equal. I think, it's probably, a good 30% each, pretty even faction between the GSX, the A2, and 8270 variants.
So Bo added the pinwheels with rubber pocket on 1 through 16, 17 to 32 pinwheels have all been welded.
Is the 17 to 32, are those like the two-piece molded pinwheel? Or are you talking about the one with the plastic? Are they the clangy pinwheels that make all the racket? Like I know the ones in Cleveland all had the clangy pinwheels, but they had to have that rubber ring in the middle, or else the pinwheels just sound like a bell every time a pin falls into it.
Oh. He also said the masking units have the cutouts on the back side. They were never installed. For pin detector.
Oh, really?
That's
weird. So I guess it was a generic thing to put them on there. Whether I guess they pop them out or not, maybe.
No harness ever installed to light the crown for strikes either.
Really?
Those were options. And ours seemed to be the most stripped down model, but we like them.
Good. Keep them. If you look, I've got a video from Kentucky. Aaron and I drove down from Cleveland to Dallas about 2 years ago, stopped in Florence, Kentucky. And I can't remember the name of the bowling alley, but they had the old double gold crown masking units. They had the pin finders, but they didn't work, of course, but they did have working strike indicators on there. And I got a couple of videos that I uploaded from the bowling alley, Florence Bowl.
And the part that was important for me, their beer was ice cold.
Everybody was happy. But yeah, that was probably the first time I've actually run into a old Brunswick masking unit house. It was beautiful. It had the gold crown ball returns, double gold crown masking units. Probably my favorite though is Mahal's up in Cleveland. I haven't seen it. Evidently they have new owners and they put in synthetics, which just kind of kills the effect not having wood lanes anymore.
Mahal's has become a music venue that also offers bowling.
But yeah, it's cool. It's like an upstairs, downstairs. And for the mechanics who understand this, bowlers might not, but when you had semi-automatics, you had the bench across the back where the people would sit. But when they took all that out to put in automatic pin setters, it left no room behind the machines, depending how the places were built. And Mahal's is like that. When they converted from semi-automatics to automatics, they would have had to move the lanes and everything up about 5 feet to make room behind the machines. So their machines are actually installed right up against the back wall. And you can't go behind the machine, which is hard to believe that, a lot of times doing any pin setter calls that you'd have to, you need to have access behind the pin setter. Like doing maintenance, changing, I think they're built a little differently, or the install's a little different for people that have them, because they have to be worked on from the opposite direction. But it'd be a nightmare. But evidently that's how Mahal's is set up, at least on one. It's a 2-story building. It's really cool. Gold crown masking units and everything.
When Zan's ball was cracked on Monday, Was that her ball or USA's?
No, that was her actual bowling ball. She has 2 bowling balls, and it came back in the hunk. I don't know if it hit a nail or something. Took like a big fingernail-sized chunk out of the shell of the ball, and luckily she had it. I had some super glue. I put the drop in there, and I put the hunk back in it, but it still stuck up a little bit. I probably need to sand it a little bit to take away that edge, or else it's going to slice her finger up when if she wipes the ball or something.
FNAF Manglefox says they should have saved more MD-11s, but now most are scrapped. The L-1011s weren't saved either.
I know, that's true. I didn't know you were as big in aviation as that, but yeah.
They were nice planes.
MD-11s, American, we had, I think, 19 of them at one time. That was kind of the bridge between the 747. They had 2 747 SPs, American does. I work for American Airlines. But they had 2 747 SPs, the short version of the 747 that they got from TWA. 601 and 602 AA were the tail numbers. But they flew Dallas to Tokyo when they first got the rights to fly to Tokyo. And then the MD-11 came along, I think, in the early 90s, like 93, 94, and American bought up about 20 or so MD-11s to take over the route from DFW to Tokyo, and some of the other long-range Germany and all that, because about that time the DC-10 was starting to phase out, so they had to replace the DC-1030s, and they got the MD-11s to replace them, which is pretty comparable aircraft, but it was more up to date at the time. But then the 777 came along, the MD-11s weren't really necessary. FedEx bought them and took the MD-11s. They still have some of the original DC-10s too, I believe.
A lot of people won't agree with this, but I love the MD-80. Getting the first 10 rows of the MD-80, it is a quiet
I
cabin.
hated the MD-80s when I worked on them, but now I miss them. I had a picture showed up yesterday in my Facebook memories. I was sitting in the engine of the MD-80, taking a picture looking forward at the fuselage. You could see the ring of the motor. Also, like doing engine trims where you change the fuel control on the motor, you'd have to trim the engine, you have to trim the idle and the takeoff to match the other motor. So you drop the cowling down and put a little bench in it and just sit there, and the motor's right here above your head, and they're going like full throttle, and you're sitting in the motor. It's just kind of a surreal feeling.
If you're ever in the back of an MD-80, what he's talking about is when it's going wow, wow, wow.
Well, that's the engine
wow.
sync. The engine synchronizer that you'd have to have on there functioning, or else when you're in the back of the plane, it'd make you nauseous with that if the engines weren't in sync with each other. But there's an actual adjustment. I think you have to get the box, put it in, 40 clicks, and then you stab it, and that would be what would sync up the motor to where if you had one to the other, it would keep them in sync. But yeah, you run the engines up full takeoff, and you set the EPRs to match. You bring it back to idle, and every time you change one, it changes the other, and you go back and forth, back and forth. And I always would volunteer to sit in the engine and do that part. That was always kind of fun to me. And the whole back of the plane's rearing up, and you're at full throttle, and just kind of fun. That's the part of my job, and I miss that. We don't do that with anything else. So, you know, the MD-80s were a cool plane. I miss them. And we got to fly on the last American MD-80 about a week before they were retired. We flew to Cleveland, oddly enough, on 501. I got the video on the YouTube page. If you scroll way, way down to the bottom, the actual takeoff. And then there's an in-flight video while we're in the MD-80 over St. Louis, I think. It's really cool.
Have you seen an A2 on Cubica AMF scoring system?
Probably. I'm not real familiar with all the scoring systems and the way they work, so I would kind of draw a blank on that. I'm sure I have, but I wouldn't have known one way or the other.
Bo said that 17 through 32 are clangy without the silencer cord. We keep the cords on.
Yeah, if you worked with 32 of them or 16 of them, you'd have to have the cords on there. I'd love to get one in here in the garage just to have it for the effect, but I think it would drive Aaron crazy after a while, because if you watch the Dickies video that I did when Mike and I went up there a couple of weeks ago, and I'm videotaping from the back, he had 2 different pinwheels. I didn't pay attention to the other one as much, but the one was one of those that, I think lane 1, when the pin rolled into the pinwheel, you could hear that clang of the bell whenever it fell in there.
Thank you for the compliment, Keith.
Also, I've got,
let me see.
we can talk about Otis Green.
Did Hawaiian take over American's MD-11s?
No, Hawaiian got a bunch of our DC-10s, and then they flew the DC-10s for a while, then they went to the A300s, I believe. And no, they got 7.6s, and they have 7.6s and A300s that Hawaiian got, but Hawaiian had only our DC-10s. The FedEx took all the MD-11s. We had 2 of them on lease back when I first started there in 1994. They were leased to U.S. Africa. I got pictures of it. They basically painted over the top stripe, I believe, and there's just like a red stripe on the side, and they put U.S. Airways, or it was, I just drew a blank on U.S. Africa over the American logo, and there was like a logo on the tail they put over the AA, and then American repoed the planes because I think they weren't making the payments on it or something, and then they put them back in the American fleet, and they're back with American after that. But what I have here, this is the brain of the Brunswick pin setter right here. This thing is fascinating. This is what mechanically tells the machine whether you got a strike, standing pins, outer range, first ball, second ball. It coordinates the scissor deck from the moving deck. There's the strike indicator right here. There's the 1-2 ball light indicator right there. Here's the detector rod that's connected to the deck lift shaft. And this is what tells the detector what height the machine is at, so it knows what just happened. If you got a strike, if you got standing pins or an outer range. It's got all the linkages hooked up to it. I don't know if you can see the green on it. On this side, that is Otis green that we're talking about. But this is a, what's serial number? 3688 serial number detector. But you got, the strike indicators right here. But you got all the cams and stuff in there. It's amazing that somebody came up with this. But this is what tells the scissor deck to run or not run, the moving deck to run or not run. It tells the machine to do a short stroke or a long stroke, whether it's a strike, second pins, whatever. But this is a brain of the Brunswick pin setter right here.
Rob, have you or Aaron worked as a bartender? I never have professionally, but I've played the part at a couple of parties.
And he plays bartender at home every night while we're watching TV and has his glass of wine. Occasionally we get crazy and do some mixed drinks at home, just if I don't have to go to work and we're just kind of feeling like we need something, he'll make something fun for me. But I'm not a big drinker, so I don't really drink much.
Talking about the score system, this is who we use.
What do you?
Go ahead, flip. Score more.
Oh yeah, score more. Let me.
Don't push a button.
Oh. Okay. You want to? Okay. Yeah, score more is developed by a guy in Sweden, Joachim, and he developed it himself.
TCAS for everyone in the room.
Hey, what?
TCAS.
TCAS. Yeah,
Think
if you ever see
clever and
TCAS,
smart.
think clever and smart. And he developed it. He's helped me a lot. I think I've helped him a lot too, hopefully tweaking it, getting, like if we say, hey, it needs this, he works on it, develops it. If we encounter a problem, he comes up with a solution for it. And I'm going to grab a rag while you're still looking at questions.
There's wet wipe right here.
Oh, I need the heavy
Okay.
duties.
Yes, I am into aviation. I prefer commercial aviation. All of the different styles, types. I would say that's aviation and travel in general are the majority of the groups that I'm in on on Facebook. I also admin a bunch of pages for airline employee groups. It's all the planes are fun, and the flight attendants and crew do a great job of taking photos of planes that have just been remodeled or redone inside. And American has the special stand up to cancer plane.
Oh yeah.
And one of the mechanics took the time to go around and take photographs of every single aircraft or every single arrow on the plane and set it out so that people could find where their family member's name was.
Yeah, there's like,
It was really cool.
I don't know how many 100,000 names on the plane or something, but it's
a
all
lot.
so small, but it makes up a big arrow, and there's a bunch of different arrows on the plane. It's pretty neat if you ever see it. It's a 321. You'll know it when you see it. It looks different from the rest. We got several other theme airplanes in the fleet. TWA. There's an old TWA scheme plane. US Air. There's the old
all the
style
airlines
American.
that now make up American. My personal favorite aircraft, unfortunately now because of COVID, the Queen is gone. There's not a lot of 747s out there doing commercial flights. So I would say my second would be the 300.
Yep. Working standpoint, I feel like I'm at home in my bed when I get on a 777-200.
Yep.
I know the 333 and the 78. It's like being in somebody else's house. I know it. I get it. But the 777-200 is just my favorite. Like you say, you like the 300?
I like the 300 over the 200. The 300s are newer.
Yeah, and they're bigger.
When we fly, since we're flying standby, I try to pick flights that will pretty much guarantee us a seat in either first or business class. And so from the pointy end of the plane, it's definitely nice to have your own bed. The food was so much better.
We did a trip to Australia 3 years ago, and we got to fly on Qantas on a 747 from Sydney to Tokyo. Then we flew on, I can't remember.
333 Japan.
Yeah, Cathay 777. Then we flew.
The Thai Airways 74.
Yeah, we flew in a Thai 74 from Bangkok to Phuket and back. It was like a 1 hour flight, and they fly a 747 round trip every day. And
it was nice. They put us. There was a couple downstairs having a fight, and so they needed to separate them in the business class cabin. So they actually let us move upstairs where we sat all by ourselves. And so we had 50 seats to ourselves.
There's video. If you go on, scroll way down to the bottom, I got video of the takeoff out of Phuket. And it's just cool as hell looking out the window and just seeing the 747 wing and the two motors. I don't know. I'm easily amused.
Hi, Joe. Well, I guess, do you want to bowl a couple of spare?
Yeah, let's do
and
some
then we can kind of
split
wind
shots.
it down.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to
Where
do
at
this.
FNAF?
It's gonna be harder to do the split stuff today because I'm gonna have to do them from the front with the stick. But we can still do them. Anything you want to see?
We'll do a couple. I won't make a promise that we'll see a lot, but
Yeah.
we'll do a couple. Just because they're a pain in the butt to set up.
I'll leave the camera there.
Yeah. 1679.
1679.
Yeah.
All right.
We really enjoyed Sydney. I would be glad to go back to Sydney in a heartbeat.
16. Oh, there went the 9. Come on, you. One 679.
That would be great. Once they release the people of Australia to move about the world.
Let's see. One for one. All right, what's next on the list of spare requests today?
14810.
What for?
810.
14810. I know who's asking
The
that.
mirror.
Game show host.
Yes, they do.
1 4
Let me get my adapter out.
8 10. Don't knock
I like
the
to
10
use my
over.
own headset on the plane. So I have to bring this, or the sound
1,
quality is terrible.
4, 8 10. There we go. All right. Let's see if I can repeat here.
Yes, we are definitely still looking for Sparetronics parts.
Whoops. Boo.
1410.
1 4 10.
know Robert would love to have a Sparatronics.
Maybe I can do better this time. There we go, 2 out of 3.
7-10, 2 balls.
7-10, 2 balls.
If you look at my profile picture on my Facebook page, that was sitting in the Qantas
This shot is
Lounge
all about
in
timing.
Sydney, right after we took the day-long double-decker bus tour, and I didn't put on sunscreen. Ugh, that sunburn was bad.
Just when you think it's too late, it's not. Oh!
Womp womp.
So close.
268.
268. Two, 6, 8.
Yes.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
I barbecued my face.
That one's almost impossible. Oh, I don't have my ball back.
Where's the ball?
There it is. That would be a situation where if you thrown another ball, they would have both come back.
Let's consult the triangle.
Let's see, what does the triangle say? The Rod J triangle says hit the 2 straight on to the 8, and what's going to hit the 6? I think the only way to do it is up the left gutter with the backup ball. Not like that. Overthought it.
349.
349 says game foul.
If we had Sparatronics, I could just push the buttons and it would set it for him. Charles.
Alright. Oh! That was close.
That was close.
That's what I was trying to do.
167.
167. By the way, the Cowboys are winning when I checked on them here a little while ago.
Anybody know the Cowboy score?
It was 10-0. Oops. Heck yeah, I'm on fire today.
15710.
7-10?
15710.
I thought I heard 7-10. 15710.
Oh, mighty triangle lady.
Won't do it.
What game show is that from, game show host?
15710. There's the the best way to get it.
Triangle Lady says straight into the 1.
Then you're gonna miss the 710.
Never knew.
Let's see. Or I can just hit the 10 or the 7, knock him out, and see if I can hit him bouncing it out. But that's no fun.
Cowboys game is tied, 10 apiece.
Oh, 10 apiece. They're starting to lose it. Closer.
Not what I expected. And just for you, Parker has requested the 710.
There we go. Thank you, Parker.
You're getting a buzz.
You gotta shoot at least once. All right.
17-10 Cowboys.
17-10. That changed quickly. Mama will enjoy that. We're having a pin jam, so I'm gonna have a 180 stop after this, I can already tell. Come to daddy.
Did the buzzing
Almost.
stop?
Let me go see what jammed up here.
Nothing has changed here.
You again.
I turned my mic off and back on, but
that one missed earlier. I have to climb up on top for this. Okay, the
is it a buzz
6
or do you
pin
think
missed the turret.
you might be hearing the fan on the hand towel or the hand dryer?
There we go.
Unfortunately, I don't have headphones for this. For some reason, Rob made a bunch of changes this week, and so I don't have any way of listening to what's going on. Yes, lots of sunscreen.
Okay.
I think my next long distance trip, it has to be Thailand. I love Thailand so much, I want to go back.
You said 710 again, right?
What?
You said 710 again, right?
Sure.
Close.
3489.
3489. Dang. I'm just gonna have to put a little hook on that one. It's a good request. Oh!
Sorry about that.
Close.
2389.
2389.
Parker, he would shoot them all day long.
The old right down the middle shot, huh?
This is the Bill shot.
Actually, I'm going to leave it like it is. Because if I miss it, it'll leave a good split. Or take out 3 of the 4 and be nothing worth shooting at.
14810.
1-4 what?
810.
1-4-8-10.
That would be really helpful, FNAF.
Let's see. Yes!
There you go.
That was close.
2-9.
2-9?
Sorry, I keep bumping my table. He has it in a weird place today. That will be much easier to say. $7-10.
7-10. I haven't done that one in a while. I'm going to go at it on the 7-pin side this time. See if I have a better bounce.
Those would be cool to see.
Smack.
Womp. 4-6.
Ooh, good one.
I thought so too. Oh, swing and a miss.
Damn.
1-6-7.
Oops.
Ah, thanks, Brandon.
Come on.
3-8.
3-8. Oh yeah, I'm good on him today.
1-5-7.
What's that?
1-5-7.
Okay. Guess there's a possibility on that one.
I'm trying to get that light glow out of the camera.
little bit more drive.
So try it the other way. 1, 5,
10. Gonna go old Anthony Simonson on this one.
I don't know who that is.
Yes! Yes!
2, 3, 8, 9. I do, Mangle. Remember United 7-4 and retired it on those Hawaiian flights. That was their Hawaii bread and butter forever. Oh.
Did that last time.
179 for Papa Jacob.
179.
I just noticed you can see the cord for the fan in this shot. It's kind of dangling. Hi, Bowling King. Yay!
Not a problem.
4, 6, 10 or 4, 6, 9. Your choice.
4, 6, 10 or 4, 6, 9. We'll see. Let's see, let's go make it harder.
I think he always goes for the 10 too, Bo. I'll ask him after he bowls this ball. So we went with the 4, 6, 9.
4, 6, 9. The thought of sliding the 4 into the 9 and the 6, hopefully. Doubtful, but... Or bouncing it out. That didn't happen either. Wah, wah. Here, I'll do that one.
No, don't. They're very loud.
Oh, you gotta just turn that down over there.
That turns you down. Okay. So, Bo asked, being right-handed on the A2, what is the percentage of picking up the 7-10 when going for the 7 or the 10? He said that it always goes for the 10. Right-handed as well.
I'd have to ask Mike on that one. I think he makes it more often going at the 10.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, I always seem to not bounce it out correctly if I hit the 10, but I've never picked it up by hitting the 7 either. I did it that one video. I think I shot 65 times or so, I think, and I finally picked it up after 65 tries, but it was aiming at the 10.
Yeah, the blooper reel is fun to watch.
All right, how about 3 more and we'll call it a day.
2, 3, 7, 10.
2, 3, 7, 10?
2, 3, 7, 10.
That's a good one. Nope. I am on it today.
Back row.
Back row, oh boy. Then it's a matter of which way to go at it.
We're going to do the Greek church next, and then we'll sign off.
No, don't do that. Get over there, get in the gutter.
I think for the boom jets, they're still very hopeful
Come on, get in there.
at the moment.
So I can have 2 shots at it.
I think until something actually comes out and they
Do
start
I
testing.
bounce it out, or do I knock it over?
So, I'm a see to believe person.
What's that? Then I'm going to try going in between the 9-10 and having the 9 do all the dirty work. Or just the opposite.
Greek church.
After this, I skipped on first ball.
Hey, look at that. For once, he left it on first ball.
This one will test the theory of hitting the 7-pin.
That was almost fun to watch.
That would have been good if the 9 was still there.
So we're going to do the Greek church next, and then we'll wrap it up. Oh yeah, tomorrow, live bowling from USA Bowl. Join us every Monday night. It's generally about 7:30, 7:45 is when Rob starts the feed. He's got a lot of prep work that he does before he starts bowling, so it takes a little bit for him to kind of get in his seat and settle down.
Nah,
Wah, wah.
a little too heavy.
And for Parker, and I know you love them, do a 710.
7-10? I haven't ever
All right,
got to
Parker,
shot
here you go.
that.
Yours will be the sign-off.
Let's see what we can do with it. We'll go with the 7 also, just to see what we get. Come on, pin. Think I
That's
didn't
what
hit it
happens
hard
when you aim
enough.
for the 7.
Alright, well, I think we reached the end of the day. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed all the talking, the questions, the detector, all the pins. I loved all the info coming from y'all and talking about your bowling alleys and stuff and everything.
Today has been fun, everybody.
Send us a lot of questions. We like to do things like this, so
Yeah.
send
Put them in the comments, and we'll get them into a question and answer video.
or a private message, the Garage Bowling Alley page, or me personally, or email us, whichever. Send us some comments, and we'll try this later.
What are your thoughts on the Max 8 coming back?
COVID was the perfect time to sneak it back into the fleet because nobody noticed when it returned. But it's a safe airplane. It was safe before. If you notice, the only problems they had were foreign carriers that probably didn't do good, proper training. It didn't happen in America where they get better training, so you didn't really, there may have been a bug in the plane, but, it's fixed, it's going again, and we got a bunch of them in service. American, Southwest, Continental, United, they're all back, so it's a safe airplane.
Are you using a real bowling ball?
I'm using the Starfire rubber ball from the 60s with the 4 holes in it. I actually used the pinky hole too. Found it at the church and it just fit my hand, so it's what I've been using in the garage.
All right, everybody.
Check us out Wednesday. Should be doing some different live feeds during the day Wednesday. We're driving up to see an old AMF house.
I'm not.
Aaron's going to stay here because he can't handle all the excitement of...
I don't want to be trapped in a car with those three.
That's true. But hopefully we'll check in along the way and do some live stuff, so have some questions in or we'll talk. And of course, the biggest thing is help control the pet population. Have your pets spayed or neutered.
Goodbye, everybody.
See you next time.